checked in. It's the Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Dolls like you and me. Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls.
Made him perfectly. So if you got a bump on your nose or lumps on your toes, do not despair. Be like the Raggy Dolls and say I just don't care. 'Cause Raggy Dolls,
Raggy Dolls.
Raggy Dolls
Raggy
are
Dolls.
happy just to be Raggy Dolls, Raggy Dolls, dolls like you and me.
The Raggy Dolls were going to spend the weekend sailing on their boat, the Spirit of Adventure. As usual, Dotty was giving out the orders. "Come on, everybody, let's get the provisions on board." "Aye, aye, Captain," chuckled Back to Front. They took blankets and cocoa for Saturday night, and sausages and baked beans for Sunday morning breakfast. Princess and Lucy stocked the food in the galley cupboards, while the others expertly prepared the boat. In no time at all, the sails were trimmed, and the Spirit of Adventure was underway. The wind carried them along at quite a speed. Sadsack looked at the water rushing by the sides of the boat. No one spoke. The Raggy Dolls were enjoying the fresh breeze on their faces, the warm sunshine, and all the sights and smells of the river and the surrounding countryside. Back to Front sat in the bow of the boat staring upriver. Far away in the distance, he could see the old windmill. He was interested in anything mechanical. "Let's explore the old windmill," he called. "Maybe we could spend the night there." "I don't see why not," said Dotty. "Good thinking." "Just think," said Lucy dreamily. "It's been there for hundreds of years, grinding corn into flour so that people can make bread." "It's a shame no one uses it now," said Princess sadly. "It's out of date," said Hi-Fi. "Nowadays they use more modern methods." The Spirit of Adventure sailed smoothly on upriver. The Raggy Dolls passed by a field of cows. A calf was standing with its mother on the riverbank. "Mom," said the calf, surprised to see the Raggy Dolls. "Good morning," called Dotty cheerfully. "Morning," answered the cow politely. Soon they approached a bend in the river. They were quite close to the old windmill by now. Back to Front stood in the bow, looking puzzled. "That's funny," he thought. "The old windmill doesn't look very old. Someone's painted it, and the sails look as good as new." Sure enough, after they'd secured the boat and climbed ashore, the Raggy Dolls found themselves gazing up at a very smart-looking windmill. "It's been renovated," gasped Back to Front. "What's renovated?" asked Sadsack. "It means repaired, made as good as new," explained Dotty. "Let's investigate," suggested Hi-Fi. The Raggy Dolls walked around the windmill and came across a sign that said, "Museum of Country Life, Working Windmill. Grand opening, August the 12th, 2 p.m. "That's tomorrow," said Dotty. "Golly," said Back to Front. "If it's a working windmill, that means they must have repaired the inside as well." He couldn't wait to get inside and have a look. "Steady on," warned Dotty. "It's not open yet. Maybe it's not safe." "That's right," said Lucy. "It could be dangerous." "No problem," said Back to Front. "We'll be all right, so long as we don't touch anything." Inside the windmill, the Raggy Dolls stared in wonder at the complicated wooden wheels and shafts. Everything seemed connected to everything else, from the floor to the roof. "It's amazing," said Princess. "Yeah," said Back to Front. "And to think all this is powered by the wind." The Raggy Dolls climbed the stairs up to the different levels. Most of the repairs seemed to have been carried out, but there were lots of odd pieces of wood still lying about. "Look," said Lucy, "they must be the grindstones." "What are the grindstones?" asked Sadsack. "They grind the wheat into flour," said Dotty. "Aren't they big?" said Princess. Up and up the Raggy Dolls climbed until they reached the place where the sails turned the main drive shaft. Back to Front wanted to take a closer look at the big wooden cogwheels. He climbed up onto the sail shaft.
Be careful,
warned Hi-Fi. I will, no problem. But no sooner had Back to Front said this than the Raggy Dolls heard men's voices down below.
My word.
They had come to tidy up for the grand opening tomorrow.
Yeah, it took a time. Yeah, watch yourself
Shh,
on that step.
hissed Dotty. There's a good wind today, said one of the men. Why don't we give the old girl a go? Yeah, why not, said the other. There was a clunk as the man pulled a lever. Suddenly, the sail slowly began to turn. Back to Front lost his balance and fell out of sight. The sails gathered speed. The Raggy Dolls threw themselves to the floor as a big wooden wheel whirled around and round just above their heads. What's happened to Back to Front? Wailed Lucy. Back to Front was all right, but only just. A nail had caught his dungarees, and he was hanging halfway down the windmill, right above the grindstones. The whole building seemed to shake. Suddenly, everything came to a halt with a loud, crunching noise. A loose piece of wood had fallen into the machinery and jammed it. The man quickly pushed the lever back again. Bother, said the first man. We should have tied it up before we tried the test. You're right, said the other. He tried unsuccessfully to reach the piece of jammed wood. I don't know how we're going to get this out without taking nearly everything apart. We'll have to come back in the morning with extra help, said the first man. There's no way we can do all that lifting by ourselves. We'll never get it done in time, protested the other. We'll just have to try. We can't disappoint the paying public. Muttering about their own stupidity, the men left.
Back to Front, called Dotty. Where are you? Are you all right?
Yeah, called Back to Front. No problem. I'm down here. The Raggy Dolls looked over the edge of the platform and saw him hanging from the nail. I don't call that all right, gasped Lucy, horrified. Is this any good? Said Sadsack, holding a piece of rope.
Well done, Sadsack,
said Dotty. The Raggy Dolls lowered the rope and pulled Back to Front up to safety.
Let's all get back to the boat, said Dotty. I think we've all had quite enough excitement for one day.
The Raggy Dolls sat on deck, sipping mugs of hot cocoa. You know, said Back to Front, I've been thinking. Those men couldn't reach that piece of wood, but we could. Dotty couldn't believe her ears.
Well, really, Back to Front, how can you think of going back in there after what happened to you?
I was only thinking of how disappointed everyone would be if the men didn't manage to get the old windmill going in time for the grand opening.
Are you sure it won't be dangerous?
Said Lucy. No problem, promised Back to Front.
All right,
agreed Dotty.
we'll get up at dawn and see what we can do.
And that's what they did. It took hardly any time at all for Back to Front to remove the piece of wood, while the others cleaned and tidied up. Then they sailed the Spirit of Adventure back downriver and moored where they could get a good view of the old windmill. Now they tucked into a well-earned breakfast of sausages and baked beans. Look, said Back to Front, they've got it going. Sure enough, the sails of the old windmill were turning smoothly and majestically in the wind. It was a glorious sight.
It's not much of a life when you're just a pretty face. Just to be whoever you are is no disgrace. Look around and you will find people of every kind, like the Raggy Dolls,
Raggy Dolls,
Raggy Dolls,
Raggy Dolls,
dolls like you and me. Raggy Dolls,
Raggy Dolls,
Raggy Dolls,
Raggy Dolls,
made imperfectly. So if you're not at ease with your knobbly knees and your fingers are all thumbs, stand on your two left feet and join our Raggy Doll chums. 'Cause Raggy Dolls,
Raggy Dolls,
Raggy Dolls
Raggy Dolls
are happy just to be Raggy Dolls.